deceive. The teddy bear are here to play. If you don't come play with.
Welcome to Frightened Female. This is Crystal. I've been debating for a little while whether or not to do this particular video. It's controversial to some. It may seem too far out there to be believable, but some of the content of this makes perfect sense to me, according to what I myself have researched over the last couple years. And I figured that this individual, of whom I've been having a conversation with, had specific things to say that I felt were mysteriously candid and revealing. And again, folks, I'm just the messenger here. So take this video however you choose to, but also keep an open mind at the same time. We've been so brainwashed to believe that the minute you hear something that seems a little wild or a little kooky, we're automatically programmed to discredit and shut out what we've just heard. So I ask you to just listen, make your own conclusions for what I'm about to share with you. So, one day, I received an email from a female named Rin. And she uses an alias on her online account, but she told me that her real name was Rin. And she has given me full permission to disclose all the emails between us, as well as some of the pictures she has sent me. She told me herself she was a reptilian extraterrestrial. So I was extremely intrigued, and let me tell you, the context of some of her words and the way she talks about specific things, this is a very intelligent person. I can tell. The following words were sent to me by her, and our conversation starts as follows. She wrote, "About 8 weeks ago, I reestablished communication with extraterrestrials. I say reestablished because I, myself, am an extraterrestrial. One person shouldn't be able to do what I can do. So when I was a toddler, my mother recounted to me multiple times that she would see bright white lights flooding from underneath my bedroom door. And I remembered a few days that I saw a floating metallic bubble bouncing off of the power lines. I had no idea what it was, so I asked my mom, and she told me just to go play. Then I recounted to my mom how my grandfather was going to die 3 days before he did die, and exactly how it happened. I described it to my mom the 3 days before, and I told her to warn him, but she just told me I was crazy. Well, he died, and my mom got so freaked out that we had to move. That wasn't the only thing I warned her about either. The extraterrestrials didn't have enough time to completely uplift me, so I had very psychic abilities all throughout childhood, and in high school, it escalated. She says no history of mental illness in me, and that her grandfather was a Chippewa shaman, and he was very psychic. I could do more than he could. Some of my family members can't handle their gifts, and they lose touch with reality, especially if they don't believe in them. She says I'm completely different. I embrace anomaly. This is where she dives in. Brace yourselves. Here she goes. She says, the extraterrestrials want to come forward and show everyone, but our government is so corrupt. They've been hiding extraterrestrial activity for decades. And I will tell you all I know. Back in 1945, the CIA brought the Illuminati into power and immersed demonic activity into politics in order to control the masses. Most of our government and our entertainers in music are possessed demonically by jinns, she says. That's spelled Jinns, jinns. That's why some of our higher politicians don't seem to act normal. Some are also shapeshifters or reptilians. She goes on to say, I myself am reptilian, but I'm completely different. I'm of this planet, just a humanoid form trying to save humanity. This goes really deep. The Illuminati has already tried silencing me once on my birthday last summer. And then she says, forgive me if I butcher this, but she says, an Anunnaki tried attacking me, as well as a demonically possessed man at the same time. It was very frightening. So I myself researched that Anunnaki, and the definition says, any from a group of powerful Babylonian earth spirits, survivors of the gods. I had never heard that term before. But she also continues. She says, the Rosicrucian order found me at 14 years of age, and they recruited me. They taught me a mass amount of metaphysics. She says, I can manipulate matter and open portals. I can even materialize birds out of thin air. I want to help humanity. This planet and all life on it is sacred. The government, bury yourselves, folks. And this is stuff that I've researched too, so that's how I know there's some kind of legitimacy to this, but let's continue. She says, the government is planning mass genocide to depopulate by 95%. And this is the goal by the year 2030, a united new world order. And she's all over topics here, which is great. But she jumps from topic to topic. So next she says Bill Gates' vaccine that he made for Syrian toddlers left all of them with paralysis. So it was infecting them. She just tells people to Google the New World Order if you don't believe me. She said, I apologize if this information is overload. People need to know. Humans were not meant to work 9-to-5 jobs. The government wants us to work so we can finance our enslavers. Every life form on this planet is meant to do something spiritually that they enjoy, earn a profit, and in return help the planet. But humanity has strayed so far from nature, it's scary. The government gives us phones, hijacking our locations, and they have a camera on us at all times. So I know I'm reading this, and I can't say I personally was overwhelmed, because again, it's a lot of the stuff that I've researched, but for somebody that doesn't know much about what's going on in the world, it could be quite a shock. But then she went on, and I thanked her for writing me, and she went on as follows. She says, the reptilians of old, like the Queen of England, don't have soul matrices, enabling them to live forever with a demon inside of them. The Vatican is the face of the Illuminati. 95% of all missing children go to the Catholic Church. And then she cuts herself off and says, I know too much. It's so chaotic and corrupt. All governments and all organized religion. Governments should be abolished for the crimes against nature and humanity, because all they want to do is start World War III. And nuclear war means planetary genocide. Unless we can live subterraneally with a new atmosphere. That's what happened on Mars. Time repeats itself. So, I had to reply because I thought, okay, well, I'm in contact now with this reptilian, this claiming reptilian. I've got some questions that I'd like the answer to. And so this is what I wrote. I replied back to her and told her I did have a few questions. And I said, although I've researched myself, I'd like to hear it from the source. And I said, question number 1. I've read that there are both good and evil extraterrestrials. What separates the two? Number 2, are all reptilians Luciferian, aka evil, or do they have their own god? Or do they not believe in a higher power? Because that's one thing I've always wanted to know as far as the aliens go. Are they their own god? So that was something I wanted to know. I also asked her questions. How do you identify a reptilian in public? Do aliens know that you suspect them in a store? Most importantly, can they read your thoughts? For instance, if I'm staring at someone in the checkout line and I think to myself, geez, I think that guy might be an alien. He's acting weird. Can that entity hear me? I also asked her, I said, if aliens are so far advanced, what is taking them so long to rule over the planet? If that's their goal. I also asked about orbs floating in the sky. Why do they just hover and fly around? What is their mission behind that? And then finally, I asked her, if you yourself are an extraterrestrial, doesn't that make your parents aliens as well? And then I said, are aliens not supposed to tell others that they're extraterrestrials? Isn't it a rule to never disclose your real identity, or does it not matter? So here's what she replied. I can't say she went into depth of every single one of my questions, but she summed up a few things. This is what she wrote. She replied, the thing that separates the two, which my first question was, I've heard there's good and evil reptilians. She said the thing that separates the two are their intent. So there's some that want to exist in a normal fashion, and there's some that have evil intent. So she said the intent is what separates them. And then she said there's people that wear suits to enable them to bend light. That's why flashes and lights are associated with extraterrestrials. She said Luciferian reptilians, the evil ones, are draconic, from Nibiru, spelled Nibiru. They have a different agenda altogether. And then, interesting fact, she said all reptilians have a love for gold because we need some of the element inside of us. She said Luciferian reptilians answer to only themselves. Lucifer is real, she says. As far as the draconic extraterrestrials are concerned, they are the higher power, completely malevolent. So they obviously think of themselves as above and beyond the face of evil. The only thing that repels extraterrestrials, she said, is magic. There are spells you can cast to make your area truly sacred. You can even conjure magic circles to make all entities unable to enter. There is such a thing as psychic self-defense. The truth is, extraterrestrials don't know who other extraterrestrials are, the hybrid kind. They have never met anybody like me. She says if you project thought, anyone can hear it subconsciously. However, she says she hears thoughts audibly. So for instance, if I was standing in the store with her and I looked at her and in my mind I said, oh my gosh, she's acting really weird. I think she's an alien. Then she would actually hear that in her mind, according to her. She goes on and says, our government is controlling extraterrestrial disclosure, and that Obama has joked about it. But it's really not a joke that our governments are being ruled by the extraterrestrials to try and fix the planet. This next sentence was the kicker for me. Because I've always thought, there's a battle going on planet Earth. And I thought it was good versus evil. Now I'm starting to think it's the aliens versus humankind. But I don't know. Not everybody believes in aliens. I do. I've had a lot of creepy experiences. But this following sentence is the one that threw me over the edge. She says, this planet is meant to be paradise, and the humans are acting parasitic and killing everything. So we're the parasite in the eyes of the alien. We're the ones that don't belong. And so by them wiping out our population, that makes sense, because then they can rule the planet. She finally stated, also, reptilians are ruled by mantises. I don't know what that is. And the reptilians ruled the greys. In other, if you haven't studied aliens, the greys is a phylum of aliens, but they're all connected, she said. When one sees greys, there are many other races of extraterrestrials watching than just greys. The mantises control the two races, and then she says the mantises talk to her. They plug me into the hive so I can kind of hack the system and get information. They know what I'm doing and what they want me to do. Humans need to know the dire situation that we're in globally. So yeah, that's a lot of complex information. It's a lot to take in. She sent me this one photo. I'm not going to show all her photos, but she sent me this one photo where taken by her boyfriend that she claims she can bend light. And I had heard of bending light before, and then I asked my husband about it, and he said he'd heard of light bending, but only in an alien type of way, that it was associated with aliens. So she did talk some more. I had some other emails, but I just kind of wanted to get down, to the nitty gritty of what she told me. You either believe it or you don't. And if somebody really was, truthful about all these things, to each their own. You either believe it or you don't. And even though it sounds so extreme, let's say everything was 100% real. You would still have a defense up saying, no, there's no way. That can't be possible. It's too crazy, because that's your human safety zone. That's what we've always been used to. If it sounds too crazy, discredit it. But what if the information that she was giving me was the truth? How would you know? How would you know? But thank you so much, Rin, for exposing so much. And regardless of what anybody thinks, I appreciate you for being so candid. And one thing that added up to me is some of the things you were talking about were some of the things that I myself had researched. And there is a lot of evidence, some of these things occurring. I suggest all of you guys, if I threw out a term that you might not have understood, you should research it yourself. So basically, it's up to you to make your own conclusion. I myself do believe in aliens and extraterrestrials. I've had things happen to me that were very strange. If you refer back to the first video I did to kick off my channel. But you could imagine, let's say everything was 100% true. You could imagine the frustration from the person trying to explain it and not be called a crazy. That's got to be really frustrating. But again, just make your own decision. Take it as it is. That was just the information that was fed to me. Rin, I appreciate you submitting your story. With that, guys, please like and subscribe to my channel. If you have a scary story of your own that you'd like to submit, please see the description box below. More than welcome to leave comments. Most importantly, folks, please be safe. Be aware of your surroundings. And remember to always lock your door. Scare you later.